Everybody, Brady from BGWX here, and today we're going to be breaking down Invest 99L, what will likely soon to be Sara and soon to be a potentially significant hurricane. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Here you can see here's current satellite of Invest 99L, just designated this afternoon 99L. That's just the designation allows them to do recon. Recon will be going in tomorrow. The hurricane hunters, they will be going in tomorrow, and we'll be getting good information from them hopefully tomorrow, and we will see how this is progressing. It's become pretty clear this cluster of convection here. It seems like it's starting to organize around a broad center, and we take a look here. Right here on Earth null, just a visible of the surface winds, and then just becomes very visible, and we can see here on Earth null that we take a look, boom, broad area of rotation. You can see broad circulation focused around the area just south of Jamaica, and that's exactly where we're also seeing, and it's come a little bit more organized too, slowly becoming more organized, right? Whole area of precipitation, right? Big Central American gyre here is what we call it, our CAG for short, and bunch of moisture present, and we're also it's a broad area of spin as well, and what we look for often with these is we look to see if there's going to be a tropical formation off that, and that's the case we have now with that. So you can see here convection, been pretty persistent, consistent, minus 70, minus 80 degree cloud tops, which are very cold cloud tops. And right when we look at the development of a hurricane or a tropical cyclone, we look for that cluster of thunderstorms become more and more organized, and as the environment suggests, so, and presents itself to it, then we start to see that takeoff. And I really do think there's the potential for this to be a significant hurricane as well too, not just a minor nuisance event where we could be talking about a potential major hurricane potentially down the road. But in the meantime, let's get into what could possibly support that. So first here, let's take a look at relative humidity, meaning the moisture, dry air versus moist air. And we see a pretty moist atmosphere, as we talked about with that CAG in place. And we're going to start to see over the next couple days. I even think, we'll take a look at the GFS and the Euro especially, but GFS could be even underdoing it potentially. How fast we see the intensification period in the 1 to 3 day time frame potentially. So I would be careful, looking down the road there, where we could, eventually, see it really take off. But even in the shorter term, I think we have to really, focus on, what could allow this to take off. And you notice that moisture bubble forms. Yes, we do have dry air, as you can see, further to the north and northwest, but it's not moving to what you can see. It's moving to the east now at this point, so it's not trying to clash with that dry air down the road, and even then that's pretty far. It's still 4 or 5 days out from there, and then eventually what we notice is it will start at some point. It will start to move north and northwestward, but notice the moisture, right? Notice the moisture present. We're not worrying about dry air being entrained in the core, right? I know but it still is a pretty big picture, right? So notice our storm is all the way here, and we still well protected. And notice we have dry air to the northwest, but it's going to be struggling to transport because the storm direction will be almost meandering around, it seems, for a few days, or not for in a few days from now, according to a lot of guidance. And also, the struggle for dry air also is because we take a look at the upper level the upper level pattern here. Here's 200 millibar winds, showing, it's a good demonstration for what we look for possible wind shear. And notice, right, really favorable pattern is going to be, this is why I'm looking at this 1 to 3 day time frame. Potentially it could be even stronger than what's being suggested, because let's take a look here. We have, zoom in a little bit, and we zoom in here. Notice, right, we have upper level outflow, right? We want that favorable cyclonic flow, right? When we take a look, we have an upper level anticyclone around our system here, right? And that's a good support for we look at lower wind shear and favorable upper level outflow as well around the system. I mean, this is textbook here, just in this time frame. I mean, look at this, beautiful, right? That's pretty damn close to textbook in terms of a good cyclonic flow, in terms of being that upper level anticyclone being placed over our tropical cyclone and allowing it to really take off, right? Really favorable upper level outflow, and even a little bit of enhancement possibly, right? Notice as we have our upper level outflow, this our jet stream could allow for an enhancement of potentially the outflow to the north, and could even help it a little bit more in that 2 to 4 day time frame as well. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. I really, this is a real, there are a lot of real, how do I put this? Good ingredients, I guess, is the simplest way to put this for a potential big time system to take place, at least in the Caribbean, or the Caribbean, sorry, at a minimum, right? So that's something to keep in mind. And then when we have such low wind shear too, you got to remember, notice we can look at 500 millibars. 500 millibars can be good. I like 850 better for looking at low level vorticity. But here's 500 millibar vorticity, showing how strong the spin is at this level of the atmosphere. And I look at this, and it's suggestive to me that I think this is where it's indicative of potentially, hurricanes work from the bottom up. So they work from the surface of the ocean upwards. And of course we're doing this again. I don't know why, but it's a battle with the screen recording today. And so they work from the top down. And so when you start to get better and you allow, and when you look at a storm that's even higher, this column is even higher, right? It's suggestive that the spin is even stronger, and the storm is really it's allowing to breathe really well. The higher up these thunderstorms can go, and rotate faster around that center. If we imagine this as the hurricane here, the center of the hurricane. So and you see that, and notice how it's really just as strong as 850 millibars as well. It's pretty close. So that's what's really stands out as another thing to look at, kind of a little bit more in-depth piece. But we also take a look at the sea surface. I think I have that up already. Sea surface temperatures still plenty warm enough, 29, 30 plus degrees Celsius. That's upper 80s, 90 degrees Fahrenheit in the Caribbean. So it's very, very very potent sea surface temperatures. And then notice the Gulf of Mexico, still 20, 26 to 28, 29 even degrees, a widespread across the whole Gulf of Mexico. So there's still plenty of warmth out there, because if it's going to be moving quicker eventually down the road to support a pretty strong hurricane still. That's not what I wanted. I wanted deep ocean heat content, and bang. So this take a look at these deep ocean heat content values, still very supportive, right? Meaning how strong is the water below, or how warm is the water below the surface? Take a look, right? Imagine here, and then how deep below the surface does those warmer isotherms go? So that's just a good demonstration to what we're looking at in terms of deep ocean heat content values, meaning warmth below the surface, and the warmth at the surface is there too. So plenty supportive. There's just a lot of ongoing factors when we look at this for a potential significant hurricane, and that's what concerns me, at least in the Caribbean. down the road, now it's hard to say, eventually there will be an upper level trough that will help pick this up some, but this is still really pretty far out down the road. So we don't want to get too caught up here, right? So there's a lot of different scenarios. Models seem to converge on this eventually getting into the Gulf of Mexico. But, we still have, notice our trough out here. There's, still being, we're still going to figure out the model. This is still so far down the road. This is, a week out, right? If this were a snowstorm, I'd be like, we got to get a lot closer still. And the same applies here. Whether we have this big trough and how, models handle this will define exactly, the influence. If this is more of an open circulation here, then we can potentially allow this to phase or get more influence to get pulled. If not, we'll kind of potentially slide more off and we'll see a more eastern or southern track potentially. So there's still a lot of different factors, and depending on where exactly our high pressure is out here as well, how all of this sets up, still far down the line. So I really don't want people in Florida to worry that much yet. That you monitor, but don't worry too much yet. That's kind of what I put on my Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I put it there today. Monitor. If you're in Florida, you're in Eastern Gulf of Mexico, monitor. Right, this is still, look at it, that's week out. We don't need to worry too much yet. We got to figure out the details first. It's possible we see a little bit different of an upper level pattern. It's currently forecast to be more favorable. That upper level pattern down the road. We take a look back into the Western Atlantic here. See, it's still a pretty favorable upper level pattern. That's supposed to, but if we press down more eventually down the road, then we could be looking at a potential, a beneficial scenario where we could have the dry air to the northwest here. If we press this down and we give a deeper trough, maybe we do, depending on what exactly we're dealing with in terms of that big bowling ball, or the big trough out there. It could allow potentially for a phase, but also we could be looking at stronger wind shear pressing against and more dry air, allowing to break up the system sooner. So there's still a lot of different factors down the road. So I don't want people in the U.S. to worry too much quite yet. Just monitor, right? That's it. But in the meantime, I am very, we'll see how close this gets to the coast of Central America. That could play a huge factor in a peak intensity. But even if it does, it gets back out into the open ocean for a good amount of time, there's still, a concern about it getting back up to strength again. So we'll see how strong. I'm not really going to put a ceiling on this one because the environment suggests it, it's capable of, going very high, right? I don't know if we'll see Milton high. That was pretty wild. But it's possible. It can't be ruled out. So I want people to just be aware of what's going on if you live in the Eastern Gulf, and monitor, right? That's it for now. So hopefully that clears things up for some people, and I'll be on X and Twitter. Till then, see ya.